Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st Millennium. I am Inquisitor Caveat Ventus, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is my report on the Valentyne Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesys Adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Tom McGee, Ryan LaPlante as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Laura Elizabeth as Lyric, and Tyler Hewitt as Alto. My report shows that the Inquisitorial Band approached a local gang in the ducts and were forced into combat. Lyric is in the heart of it, Alto has proven to be a capable sniper, and Valentyne is still finding his footing with his erstwhile allies. Can they survive this brawl and board the Astral Line? Find out next in this episode of the Valentyne Heresy.
So you find yourselves locked in furious battle, far outside the dome, Lyric, that has been your home for as long as you've known. But this, at least, is something you understand. Knuckles, face that offended you, Knuckles. So with the silenced kind of blast of Alto's carbine ripping a guy apart, you draw your pistol and open fire at Ratface, the Gnasher who you're currently standing off against. So go ahead and roll, please. You're at close range because he's within, like, I don't know, posturing distance. So that's one purple.
Okay.
He is ready for you, but I don't know that it matters, so I'm not going to give you any disadvantage, I don't think. It was dark for Alto because he was far away, but because you're close enough to the welding torch, I think the light is good enough and he's close enough that, like, it's like talking to someone, like, close to a campfire. It's still dark, but, like, you know where his frame of mass is.
Yeah.
So you are good on that front. So yeah, I think for me, it's honestly just the one purple. Keep in mind, you do still have 5 story points available to you.
Okay.
Really depends how badly you want this motherfucker dead.
I mean, pretty badly, but...
pretty badly. I kind of want him dead.
Badly.
Dead.
Sorry, I'm just, like, making sure I, like, understand what I'm doing here.
Right. So this will be ranged light and agility.
Hit. Yes. I was just checking because so what I want to do is I want to trigger auto fire, which is going to...
You'll need to roll...
an additional purple.
You add a purple and you will need, I think, 2 advantage for it to actually be able to auto fire.
Yeah, but I have to roll the purple first, right?
Yeah, you have to see if you succeed or fail, and you have to roll the advantage. Because you don't have advantage to carry forward where you could guarantee it.
Yeah. Okay, and then I will use 1 story point to upgrade one of my greens. All right.
Fuck yeah.
Let's do this. 4 successes, 1 threat.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's a very cool roll. Okay.
So that's 5. That would be total of 9 damage.
All right. Very cool. So 9 damage. Some of that's eaten by soak. Okay. And 1 threat, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you whip the pistol up and you just slug him point blank. And you're using what, like a needler? What kind of weapon are you?
This is my auto pistol.
Okay. All right. So just straight up.
A little,
Ryan, is that
chunky little pistol?
Yeah. Is it ballistic munitions or laser?
That's projectile.
Yeah.
So auto gun, it's like a stub gun. Basically, if you picture it, it's like
I know that.
It's like a Tech 9 kind of like pistol with extended clip, can fire automatic.
It's funny, I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but because I've only primarily played like Marines and Orcs, I know the giant version that a Space Marine carries, not the tiny version that a human could carry. got there eventually.
Yeah, there's auto cannons, which is the space
those are the ones
version.
I know.
There's auto gun, which is your traditional like M6, and then there's auto pistol, which are like an Uzi.
Gotcha.
Which I'm like, pew pew or.
Yeah. So, and for the record, I think the sound effects you used are absolutely correct. We're always going to assume that when you're on auto fire, it is auto firing. We're just talking about like the.
Do you hit multiple targets? Or,
yeah, exactly. Or is
Okay.
it the kind of thing where you're prey and spraying, where you're just like you fire it, but the kick is enough and they duck? Like all these minor factors. So I don't want you to feel like you're like, I activate my auto fire. That's like pew. Because I mean, I've played enough online shooters to know that trying to fire any kind of SMG once, not fun. Not a fun visual or sound effect. So you just like sort of pull it out and just full trigger depress, just sort of spray him with hits, just kind of straight to center mass. Unfortunately, you can hear a bunch of the bullets ting off of some kind of ballistic vest.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, he's still definitely like you can see you've wounded him, but not it's certainly not fatal.
More emotionally than physically.
Yeah, it feels real betrayed by the person he's been openly threatening and like trying to intimidate. That said, he does 100% recognize the error of his ways.
Good.
And so as we make our way to his turn, he just yells, "Ah, fuck!" Bad fuck! And he's going to dodge behind his compatriots. It's the classic like mid-boss guy getting behind the toughs. So he's going to duck, just sort of duck behind them and open fire on you. So with the 1 point of threat you had, I'm going to give him 1 boost dice.
All right.
And then he is going to open fire. So that is... All right.
Who gets shot and how much? The dice pool will tell us.
Yeah, sorry, everybody. This is called... I don't have the digital dice roller. All right, so that is... Holy shit. 5 success.
No.
X is failure or X is...
Yeah, X is
Failure.
Great, okay. So 4 success, 3 advantage. Oh man, so he's going to activate a critical. Oh man, it's almost like walking up to 6 people and calling them douchebags might not have been the smartest strategy.
They decided to kill her
are.
just for talking.
Yeah.
It was kind of unavoidable.
I take
are
issue with the
stupid.
name calling accusation. I would like my objection preserved for the record.
Duly noted, preserved.
Thank you.
In audio format. All right, so I rolled a 97.
You're dead. You're just wiped from this earth. Roll a new character.
Okay,
I'm white
so
from this life and the next.
Laura, you get to roll a check, I think, to avoid this.
Oh, that's nice. I'd like to do that.
Yeah, I think that's how this works. So, sorry, just give me one moment because this is the first time we've had one of these.
Yeah, critical
Yeah.
injury on one of us is like, what's the injury, man?
Yeah. Okay.
Critical injury on the bad guy, boom, he don't got a face no more.
That was true on this particular fellow. It's not true on all of them. Okay.
Yeah, I know, because I got some weapons that do vicious damage, which I looked up, which just means you add to the severity of the roll. So, spoiler alert, adding to make the number higher makes it worse. So 97 is muy bad.
Yeah.
It is muy bad. Okay, generated critical injury.
That's coming from Laura, not Lyric. Lyric would never say that.
She might
know
now.
what?
Maybe
Justice-
97 is all of a sudden Lyric's a wimp and it's just, no, I don't wanna.
Yeah. You
what happened. My
Yeah.
facade is crumbling.
look on the bright side. No matter how this goes, I'm an Inquisitor, Inquisitors can requisition anything. We can put a nice robot brain in there and just start you from zero. Or you'd make a beautiful servitor. Or Eugene could get a friend. Like Alto could have his own Eugene named Lyric that flies around.
Oh, that is
and helps him do jobs.
incredibly sad.
Yeah, seriously.
Or if you've done screwed up crimes, I could turn you into an arco-flagellant.
That sounds made up.
No, that's the thing.
Flagellant?
Yeah, it's
So
a
what is-
punishment.
What is Arco? What does that mean?
So here's the fun where I could just describe things that exist in 40K while Tom looks up rules.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Arco-flagellance is a punishment meted out usually by the Inquisition, occasionally by the Mechanicus, and occasionally by the Ecclesiarchy. The idea is that you are such a heinous criminal that you have no right to life, but you should be able to redeem yourself. So what they do is replace most of your limbs with weapons. For example, neural whips is a really popular one that are full of shocks. And then they replace your bone structure with it. And they basically put what they call a pacification helm on, which makes you kind of not a thing. You kind of wander around as a shambling monster, except when they take it off, usually on a code word. And then they pump your body full of incredible like meth. And there's other drugs called like slot and spur that make you like a furious killing machine. And then it's literally just like, I'll borrow a catchphrase from the Night Lords because it's all I can think of right now. And you just say like Dominus Nox, and the helmet comes off, and you're full of everything, and you just try to kill everything you can until they say a word again, and the helm comes back on. You're like, and you basically are walked around as like a suicide weapon to do heroic things that you normally wouldn't, with no personality.
I
That
would
sounds like
not like that.
That sounds like the ultimate roleplay experience.
On the record.
Okay.
The interesting thing is you can actually buy one as a character. It's on the list of things you can purchase. It's just expensive.
I was just gonna say, it's like, hey Laura, can you record these like 10 lines? All right, we'll just slot those in.
Yeah, can you give us 4 grunts, 8 screams?
No, because I want to
fine,
cut
but,
to you for your internal horror occasionally, so you have to sit through every recording.
I wonder if the clouds look back at us and wonder what shape we are. All right. So bad news there, Lyric.
I'm dead.
He snaps a quick shot off, and he hits you in let me.
The wiener. That's what 97 is. It's the wiener.
Yeah.
And you have to have one if you roll a 97.
So Laura, he hits you in the leg. And,
oh no, that's not good.
There's a blinding sort of blast of pain as his we'll say probably he's probably using munitions as well. So as the bullet kind of tears through the bone, and your leg's become crippled, which means that it is impaired until the injury is healed. You have to increase the difficulty check of anything that requires that limb by 1.
Okay.
So think of this less as you can no longer stand, and more so that you've lost all feeling in your leg. You can still drag it, and you can still kind of prop yourself up, but your movement speed is heavily impaired, and running and dodging are kind of out of the question. Like artfully falling, on point. And if you're able to... I'll also say for an injury like this, if you were able to find a mobility device of some sort, whether that's a cane or anything else or a staff, something to lean on, I would let you mitigate that for most things.
Okay, cool.
Because it's not like your leg has been blown off. It's just very, very badly injured. And unfortunately, you're not used to managing that. So you will need some kind of mobility device to be kind of back up to full.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, he, like, you can see blood kind of oozing through his shirt. He's just like, it's like the old proverb says, and he coughs up someplace like, a leg for a lung. He doesn't read much. Brings us to his goons. So he's now hiding behind them, which they don't love. They're, one of them just got vaporized. So it's only one guy. He's hiding behind exactly one guy. That's depressing. No, sorry, there were three of them. I fucked up my chart. So there are two of them left. And he's like, well, what happened to Pipes? And they're like, it's the ghost. There's a ghost in the tunnels. It's like, well, fucking shoot the ghost then. So they're going to shoot at you, Alto. They're going to attempt to hit you. They don't really know where you are, and they also only have pistols. So this is very much a classic, like, common mooks trying to shoot Batman kind of thing, where it's just like, it's like the opening credits. It's just two guys firing pistols.
Where are you?
Yeah, very much. So their odds are not good. This is a 4 purple.
I was gonna say, Tyler, you add challenge dice to be perceived, don't you?
Using my silencer, yes, yeah.
I was gonna say with the night cloak.
The night cloak actually is for stealth checks. So
got it.
When I am being sought out, when I'm not like actively rolling for stealth, it doesn't seem to confer any benefit.
Cool.
But I'm also at long range, and if they're using pistols, I doubt they're going to be very effective. Fuck, I hope they're not effective.
You are likely correct. Okay, so there are 3 people. They get. All right, and setback for it being dark. Oh boy. So this is 5 purple, 2 yellow, and 1 black. All right, so I got a triumph and a success.
Come on.
And then I got 4 failures, so that will wipe that out. Plus an additional failure, and then 3 threat. So not great for the goon.
Got really worried there when you just started with 1 triumph and a success. I thought you had already like summarized everything. I was like, oh shit.
No, I will repeat without the benefit of an AI doing it for me. Old Tommy has to math, but math with symbols? Not great. So
Okay,
yes,
guys are like
work,
symbols.
work smarter, not harder.
yeah, my hieroglyphic dice have come back. I
Yeah,
have
Tom, you're only GMing like 8 shows, you know?
I'm sorry, I'll try harder.
Oh, don't try harder. That's what we're saying.
Me try smarter?
Yes. Good. He's getting it.
All right. Dear Diary, it finally happened. All right, well, if we're done ribbing the GM, I'll get back to creating an imaginary universe for you idiots to fuck up. So with the amount of threat accrued, I'm going to say that Valentyne, because you're up next, if you choose to target this group, you'll have some bonuses because of like the muzzle flashes. They're like, A, you've got night vision anyway, but B, they're clearly kind of spraying and distracted. There's no dodging to be done, and it gives you time to accurately line up a shot. So we'll leave that to you. Valentyne, you see these goons open fire at kind of roughly where Alto is, but they're clearly not tracking shots. Much at
Cool.
all.
Right now you said we're lit by a welding torch?
So basically, the way I want you to think of this room is at the far end, the tunnel continues to kind of curve off, but at the it's almost like a Y junction. So part of it just comes to a stop, which is where this giant vault door is that leads to the Astral Line service shaft. The tunnel continues on. They are currently welding, using a welding torch to burn through that door. So the big boss and then 2 people are up at the door. So the welding torch is casting a bit of light kind of roughly where Lyric is, but it's pretty far away from where you guys are. So casting dim light around the torch, enough that you can see the 2 groups. However, the muzzle flares from these 2 goons firing, like quick firing, give you pretty good line of sight on them.
All right. Well, I can't turn down a good opportunity. I mean, it's part of my job as an Inquisitor. So I think I imagine I've already aimed because I would have been aiming, and then it's I'll take the shots at our terrible, dumb friends skylining themselves.
So would you like to target Ratface or the goons? I'll say you have equal. You'll have disadvantage on Ratface because he's in cover, human cover, but he is also lit by the blast
I
bar.
think, no, I'd rather just kill somebody who's uninjured. I'll trust Lyric. Lyric's still standing, and I'm impressed by that. So I think it's taking out people who are fresh, because then we can kind of work our way down.
Sure.
Also, bolt weapons tend to be good to take people out of the game from the beginning, as opposed to finish off the injured.
That's fair.
So what do I need for my pool, Tom? From your end, because I know what I've got on mine.
So you were what kind of weapon are you using?
Bolt pistol.
Bolt pistol. Okay, so you're at far range, so it's 4 purple. You're aiming, so that gives you 1 blue. It's dim light, but you've got bionic eyes, so it doesn't really matter, so that cancels out. From the 3 threat accrued by the goons, I will give you 2 boost.
Okay.
And I'm going to spend a story point to upgrade one of those purples to a red, please.
Cool. And I will spend a story point from our side to give myself a 3rd yellow.
Cool.
Ooh, and the end result is 3 successes, 1 triumph.
Damn, son.
Excellent.
Awesome.
So that's 3 successes, 1 triumph. What's the damage on your pistol?
The pistol damage is 10
Oh my god, those bolters are nasty.
with crit 2. Also, it pierces 2 soak.
Fair enough. So you don't need. You can spend a triumph to activate crit if you want. So Jesus.
Here's the question, Tom. If we want to look at a triumph, is it possible that the explosive rounds actually shred the first guy and hit Ratface as well?
Sure, we can do it that way. I was just gonna take it all out on the goons.
Oh, perfect. Let's do that then. That's perfect.
Yep.
I would love to just take it out on.
Yeah, there's a rule about minions in Genesis that's really fun, which is that.
Oh yeah, you said they're treated as a pack.
Yeah. It's
Dope,
like
dope.
mob mentality. So all right, so you do 10 base, plus you had 3 successes and a triumph.
Yes.
Damn.
So total of 14, and you ignore 2. Good God. Yeah. All right. You you see the 2 guys kind of skyline. They're lighting themselves up. Yeah, you just take aim on one of them, open fire, and as you strike him, the blast kind of blows out a chunk of his shoulder, and his arm loses all muscle control and sprays the guy next to him with fire, dropping him as well. And Ratface just goes, "Oh, fucking sure, now you can hit him." Then just boots the corpses out of the way, and I was gonna say turns to run, but his actual boss is behind him, so there's nowhere for him to go. So instead, he does that like I'm bad at aiming thing, where he just closes both hands around his gun and is doing like a full on like Fargo, like Francis McDermott Fargo wide stance, like pointing at Lyric.
Tom, for an incidental, could I activate Eugene and yell Inquisition, knees on the ground, hands in the air?
Yeah, I'll allow that. Yeah, okay. So you yell that, and you see the 7 foot tall guy. We'll call him Tallman. Tallman turns around.
Tallman Grundy.
Tallman Grundy. Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Tallman Grundy turns around, and he just goes, "Well, I'll be the Emperor's favorite nephew. Inquisition? Should have said that to begin with." And then he just like raises his gun and blows Ratface's head off. And then he drops the gun and kind of gets down to his knees. The lady who's welding kind of like looks over her shoulder, and he kind of like looks at her, looks back at you, shrugs, and then just gestures to like put the welding torch down. So she does, and then she gets down on her knees. But yeah, the remaining folks kind of get down and hands in the air. There's a lot of muttering of like, "Hey, yeah, sorry, those guys go off the handle all the time. Like, we're not even with those guys. I don't even know who that guy is." But yes, they seem legitimately quite concerned about the Inquisition being there. So I'm going to drop us out of initiative order. Now, Lyric, just because they've surrendered doesn't mean you have to accept that surrender. So I'll leave it up to you whether you want to do anything.
Is there still one of those assholes close to me?
The group that was closest to you is all dead now.
They're all dead.
But there is another group that was also closing in. There are 3 of them. they're now pointing at those guys, being like, doing a lot of like very broad, like, oh, what a bunch of assholes. We don't even know them, kind of stuff. They all sound vaguely like John Mulaney. I'm not sure why.
I'm just, I think I just want to say with them, I'm like, all right, give me your longest gun.
Well, they're all on the ground, so why don't you take them? And I'll just approach out of the darkness. I'll activate the refractor field. I feel like this is a moment rife for me getting shot somehow.
Sure.
And then I think it's just like kicking the weapons away and kind of like them just saying, all right, so Alto, Lyric, please take whatever you please. These seem like a nice bonus for you. How many people are on their knees here, Tom?
There are 6 now. So there's 3. There's Tallman Grundy, the welder, who is just like, she's got the one big fucking scary arm. And then there's another, like, basically there's like a skinny youngish guy who's like holding the welding pack and like turning the crank on it because 40K technology is insane. So there's kind of like, basically, for lack of a better term, like the HQ crew, and then there's like another set of minions who were holding, like, one of them had like a machete, and then 2 of them had sort of the same low grade weapons that the other crew had.
I just want to find something long enough to act as like a crutch for myself, so I don't have to use my own guns for that.
Incidentally, none of them have long-barreled weapons, but you did pick up that handy.
I did.
Laslock,
yeah.
Laslock. So that'll do.
All right.
Also,
that's what I'm using.
Incredibly badass that you found like a vintage high-powered rifle, and you're like, good enough for a cane.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll say that for non-combat actions, this will reduce your injury because it like, as anyone with a cane does, it gives you the mobility you need.
Cool.
Great.
And then I'm just like, I just say, you stupid fucks, and I'm like, Valentyne, I think we got a place for your Inquisitor thing.
Yes.
Whatever
So I'm
it is.
interested to know, because it seems like we know a little bit about the Astral Line. Excuse me, you seem like you're in charge here. So what do you know about the Astral Line? And what should I know about the Astral Line? And I don't like making threats. It's never been something. I feel like it creates a lot of negative emotions and it ends friendships. So really, I just try to make things clear right up front with these relationships. So no cost, no foul. And I just pull the trigger and shoot a guy in the head next to him. And I'm like, so that's the consequence. We don't need to go any darker into this. So what do I need to know?
My face lights up at this.
Yeah, and Tallman kind of looks, not in horror, but in like vague frustration. He's like, that was our heavy pack boy. It's all right. No, you know what?
That was our map boy.
Yeah, but he carries the heavy pack.
Map guy.
My lord, clearly you speak with the Emperor's voice, and if you think Sheila should carry her own pack, and Sheila's like, hey! And Sheila, by the will of the Emperor, will carry her own pack. The Astral Line, yeah, back in the day, we, how to put this? We had a historian for dinner. You see, we had a nice chat as we were prepping the meal, you understand? And he was telling us all about this thing. Apparently they wanted to build these glory domes all over the fucking place. Sorry, you may not be familiar with that term. It's often used for derision, but it can also be used for sexual intercourse or just a general yell of excitement. It's a local.
Hurry up. Oh my God, hurry up.
Yeah, all right. So all that going to say, the Astral Lines, it seems to be an interconnected series of ships. This one will take you to another one of the Galen colonies. Don't know how many there are. Don't know how to get to the other ones, but it's the only way off this rock that we know.
Interesting. All right, friend. So I believe I have a purpose for you. And I'd say, Eugene, and he'll just like fly over. Yeah, and Tom, this is total bullshit, but sometimes you let me get away with fun bullshit. I would just like it to be that Eugene can like spool out a little bit of like scroll, so I can just like slice the paper off. And basically, I want to write orders to the PDF command that just say, like, first priority is shooting down anything trying to fly out of the hive. Second priority is, holding chaos back. And then I want to seal it with my inquisitorial seal and say, all right, you all seem like capable friends. So what I would like to do is I will send you to the PDF command to deliver an order on my behalf. Now, if you do so, obviously you're like, why do I go through a war zone? Well, the answer is you'll be pardoned of all your crimes and made aristocrats here within the hive at the end of the war. So then I write that on a second piece, and I'm like, so deliver one, deliver the other, and enforce on my behalf. We'll give you back whatever of your weapons Alto and Lyric don't require, and you can all be heroes of the Imperium. How does that sound?
My lord, that sounds excellent. I must ask, though, are aristocrats allowed to have, shall we say, the refined palate that a gentleman such as myself, an eater of human flesh, if you will, would I be able to continue to indulge in my particular tastes? People think we do it because we're a tough gang, but honestly, we just really like the taste.
Well, to be honest, in public, no.
Oh.
But the wonderful thing about being an aristocrat is you can do a great deal of things in private that other people then can't talk about. So, yes.
Sheila, pick up Steve's pack. You're carrying it now. Come on. Let's go be aristocrats. And he holds out his hands as though he's like offering up supplication, but he's just kind of waiting for the scroll.
Great. I put the order scroll in one hand and the pardon in the other. And I say, rise, hero of the Imperium. Save this hive and become the aristocrat you were born to be.
Thus begins the House of Tallman. Come, my fellow friends. Let us go crack some leech skulls and deliver some good news. We're all gonna be aristocrats. And then they all get on their bikes, and one of them's like, oh, I don't know, boss. This seems mighty dangerous. And Tallman just, like, glowers at him. Do you do anything?
I wait to see how Tallman reacts. I watch very openly.
Yeah. Tallman just shakes his head, and he's like, scared Petey. You could have been such an amazing aristocrat. And then he guns his engine, and they just leave him behind. So he turns back to you, and he's like, so, do you guys need a map boy or something?
So, interesting fact. I began my career as a commissar. Does anyone know the purpose of a commissar? And I looked at Lyric.
No.
Well, it turns out it's to make sure that there are no cowards left in the Imperium. And I just raise a gun without even looking at him, and I just shoot scared Petey in the head. And then I just go over and put my inquisitorial thing into the Astral Line. And I just, like, plug in.
Great. So I have a glowing, mysterious red light that I intended to be not red, but here we are.
Very dramatic, I think.
Thank you. There we go. So you plug your sigil in, and of course it's not an exact fit because none of these are, it's not like they come off a fucking assembly line. But sure enough, the sigil turns, and you're able to kind of turn it, and immediately a bunch of mechanisms within the door begin to shift. And you kind of hear like the heavy metal like clanking of several sort of like bolts basically pulling in. And then the door creaks open, and as it does, you're hit with a blast of fresh, if stale, air. It seems that no one has entered the Astral Line service channel in quite some time. And actually, Lyric and Alto, this is probably the cleanest air you've ever smelled. It's kind of like a little bit like if you've only ever drank kind of gross water and then you have filtered water for the first time. You're like, oh, that's what water tastes like when there isn't shit in it. Okay, cool. Coming from Mississauga, where there's just like all sorts of fun garbage in the water. It's tasty, but it is a taste. Stepping through, I assume you're closing and sealing this door behind you?
Yeah, I would say the first thing we'd do probably, Tom, is I'd look around for whoever pipe guy was, and I'd like to just take the pipe and then wrap it in cloth from somebody's outfit and light a torch that I can then give to Alto so that they can see in the dark as we wander around, and then close the door behind us when we go in. And then I turn to the other two and go, I know it seems a bit strange that I would give them the power of the aristocracy and a pardon. Here's an interesting fact. They are being pardoned for crimes committed in this hive. and they will be made aristocrats in this hive. And the Navy will be destroying this hive. So really it was sort of a them and me scenario where we can all gain things. I get a use out of their death, and I get to make sure that no demons leave the hive. This is kind of a net gain scenario. Normally I wouldn't let you in on the inside of this little thing, but I don't want you to think I'm unreasonable.
I was hoping this was your approach.
Inquisitor Valentyne?
Yes, Alto.
Is there like a commissar for Inquisitors who like flee doomed planets?
Well, that would be other Inquisitors. But here's the interesting thing. An Inquisitor is so much more valuable than 5 cannibals hitting things with a welding torch. Because my understanding and my abilities are far beyond that, which is the same reason why I'm not shooting either of you for going with me, because I believe you have greater value than them. Can we save another planet in the future? Yes. Can we perhaps save the Emperor himself? Unfortunately, yes, not having the most straightforward day in the fate of the Imperium. But you will help me. All of us will show greater value in future, and the whole numerical ecclesiastical equation will balance out.
Alto thinks about how one Inquisitor opened a door that 5 cannibals couldn't. He's like, oh yeah, that math checks out. He is more important.
Honestly, yeah, I like it.
All right.
Great. So with that, you sealed the door and make your way into the Astral Line chamber. This is very much a... I'm trying to think of the appropriate analogy for this, and all I can think of is a Ontario theme park that doesn't exist anymore. But in Ontario Place here in Toronto, there used to be a bunch of like really, and I guess at Wonderland as well. Basically, think of any simulator ride you've ever entered that was like generic, not movie themed. So just a lot of like blue space walls with stars and like big sweeping, like that kind of weird late 80s, this is what the future airport will look like kind of thing. So very, very tourist friendly, very a little overdone, but also oddly hopeful. But in a vaguely disingenuous way. Like hopeful the way a raving capitalist would create hope, because grimdark. I say from literal dark.
It's Disney World.
Andrew Ryan over here making the Astral Line.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of that in here, as I'm sure you've noticed.
Yeah.
So you make your way through, and there's like, you can tell it was mostly complete when it was sealed. So there's like even sort of red velvet rope that's been set up in kind of a waiting line. But you can see part of the decal on the wall is peeled. There's scaffolding up. It wasn't quite ready. You make your way kind of up. There's kind of 2 sort of stairs that arc upward in sort of a curved line. And honestly, after kind of treading through the detritus of society, it's refreshing to just kind of be in this weird sterile space. And all 3 of you kind of mount these stairs and come to a large sort of gold outlined door. And Valentyne, it has been a strange day, no doubt, for a variety of reasons, but also in terms of the fate of the Imperium, the fate of the Emperor himself, and the vision that you've seen. But if there's one thing Inquisitors are good at, it's looking for signs, whether that's signs of heresy, signs of the Xenos, signs of chaos. In this case, it's exactly the sign you wanted, because it would seem that this particular shuttle on the Astral Line is called the Emperor's Hope. And as you step in, a slight smile creases the edge of your lips, because you were a little worried that maybe all of this was insane. But now it just seems like the Emperor's will, no matter how much treason you have to do to accomplish it. And with that, the 3 of you step in, hear the door seal behind you, and as the lights and sounds begin to turn on, all of you take the very first steps into the Valentyne Heresy.
This episode of the Valentyne Heresy features Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter as Alto, Laura Elizabeth at EL Hamstring on Twitter as Lyric, and our Game Master Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode was edited by Ryan LaPlante, and the Valentyne Heresy's show logo was created by Decapitated Markers at Decapitated Marker on Twitter. That's MRKR. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ads use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, provided by freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. We have merchandise available at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, and most importantly, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics.
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christian Menicola, Long, the Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, DM Rob, Christopher Little, Olin Anderson, Sue One, Devin Boyce, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Anthony Griffin, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.